And I belong to a community that you couldn't have a C-section.
Wow.
So it's like, if that's where I belong, then like I think my eyes should see that they don't have that same access. You know, and that easily it would be a different story because of income or because of being able to get to the right hospital to be able to get the care that you needed.
Okay, so 2011. Okay, I've gotten there. I'm with you.
So we're in 2012. I don't know if you want me to talk about Titus now or later, but I married Titus in 2012.
Don't skip.
So at the end of 2011 is when I met who would become my husband.
At the end of 2011.
And I married him in 2012.
Whoa! Ain't no time wasting up in here.
I was 33, 34, I don't know. I was, like, we were both old enough.
Yes.
And, like, he was just remarkably kind and intentional in the way that he pursued me. And, like...
Where did you meet?
Well, so his brother and the social worker from Living Room, they wanted to introduce us. So he came to the hospice one day, but he had been told that there was a Kalenjin girl in the village that he should come and meet. So my Kalenjin name comes up, but like clearly I didn't fit into the what he imagined. Anyway, so he came and then he realized, oh my gosh, like this is an Mzungu, and she runs like a place where people are really sick. Like, I mean, he really had to wrap his head around, do I want to really try this or not, I think. Yeah. So I was about to leave to go to the US for a period of time, and I don't really know how he decided, but while I was away, he met with David Tarus, and he said, so David Tarus is like not only a colleague and mentor, but he's like a father figure. So he met with David and said, I'm interested in meeting Juli. And so he's like, well, good, she's coming back. You want to go to the airport? So Titus and David come to the airport to receive Allison and I. Titus brought flowers, but David handed them to me. So I was just like, oh, that's really kind of David to give us flowers. And then I asked Allison, like, who's David with? Because he's like got so many friends. Like, I didn't know him from anybody. And I was like, who's that? And she's like, I don't know. So then as we're leaving the airport, David's like, why don't you ride with him? So I just got in the car. Titus is driving, and his brother's also in the car. I mean, it sounds so random, but all I remember from that car ride was he was really kind, like really kind. And so from there, like, we just started talking, and the road to Chobaiwa at that time, they were repaving it, and I'm telling you, it was terrible. So he had to be so intentional to drive down to see me, because like like the amount of work it took for him to reach me. We were not playing games. Like, it was Kazi. It was so hard to get there, and he kept coming.
Wow.
So like, I don't know, like, I was living in a village. I'm a white lady in the middle of a village. Like, there's nothing like going for coffee. Like, it's like everything is, he's seeing, like, who's that, you know, and so anyways, we met and we dated for a few months, and then we decided, let's get married. Okay. And so, you know, Koita is a big deal in Kalenjin culture of like engagement and dowry. And so I told David Tarus, like, when we were going to get engaged and married, like, I don't actually need that. And he's like, well, it's not actually for you. This is for the community. This is not for you. And so we're going to do it for the community because you belong here. And we're not going to tell his family that they're picking some random girl from nowhere. Like, you have a family.
Yeah.
You have a community. They're going to come. And we're like, so 2,000 people
What?
came and gathered. His family came and they did their negotiation for cows, and so then
For your community.
for Chibaiwa. So
You are integrated.
I'm
What?
very, but also like, how kind. Like,
Wow.
I think I'm being selfless and like, I really don't need the attention. He's like, it's really not for you. But that's humble. Like, that's a like a lesson of like, well, of course it's not for me. It's that I've been a part of a community and they want
Wow.
to celebrate. And you're going to take that from them because you're, like, you're not going to have it. Like, you're not going to not have that. We're going to come together and we're going to celebrate together. And so that's what happened.
Oh my God. Every time you talk, some things pop up. Like, you belonged. You belong to this community. Like, this may be a very funny example, but I just saw a picture of the air up there. I don't even know if you ever watched that basketball movie anyway, it's a very funny thing. But you belonged. Like, they came to get you. Did it hit you how much you belonged when you see all these 2,000 people coming to get?
Well, I mean, I think I knew. Like, I knew, but like, just the affirmations along the way of like how much they love me and
Wow.
how much that I love them. And there's things, that have happened over many years where it's like, I will never forget that. But the truth is, like, it's happened so many times. Like, I don't remember that when that child was sick. Like, I can't remember that specific
Yes.
instance because it's like, it's over 20 years and I thought I'd never forget because they're like profound moments, but there's so many of them. And so a couple years ago when I was writing a book, like, I realized, but that is still in the fabric of me. Like, I may not remember the name or the exact like occurrence. And then all of a sudden it's like, but they're all woven together. Like, it's not like a story here and a story here. It's like this integration and weaving that has like become the fabric of my life. And they allowed me to come and belong. So we did the 2,000 people engagement.
Your parents are not there. Like,
My parents weren't there, but David and Allison stood in as my parents. They negotiated cows. They the families anointed each other with oil. Like, we did the whole kill the cow for food celebration. And it was beautiful. Like, it was so beautiful. People from Kimbilio, like, guests as well as like staff were there. And I'm sure people are like, who are these people in the tent? But I was like, these are my people. Like, these are the people I love. Like, if we're going to have a VIP, then it should be somebody from Kimbilio. Like, that's just how I'm wired. So we did that. And then Titus and I went to the US and had a much smaller than 2,000 people wedding in Redding with my family, which they had not met Titus yet. So that was how they met him. And we did a wedding there, and then we came back, and then we had a wedding with 5,000 people. So, do you know your neighbors?
Wow.
Because, it's like an invitation isn't necessarily required. It's like, you're a part of us, we're going to come. So they come.
So sort yourself out, man.
And like, how wonderful.
Yes, that's true.
Like, how wonderful to like be able to have community surround you and to feel welcome.
Wow. Okay. So you get married.
Got married.
20?
12.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That story is crazy.
Did you expect all that?
I'm I'm picturing 2,000 people, this white chick.
And it was
probably dressed up like.
I had yeah, it's true.
Probably dressed up.
We had Marsique, the whole,
I know.
all of it.
It's just, I can imagine that picture being taken and then sent to your parents.
But
in
like
the
for
US.
me, like I had really longed to have home, family, children, and like I didn't know if that was going to be part of my story. And like the longer I stayed in Kenya, like it just felt like I don't know if that's going to be something that I get to have or not. And so like he just was so uncomplicated in the way that he loved me and like came into my life that it was like, we don't need to like draw this out. Like we're making a commitment towards one another and like, let's go. And that's what we did.
Okay.
And he has been, I mean, I don't recommend that for everybody. So like, make sure like, please don't listen to me and think like hurry into something that's not right. But what I would say is that over the last, it's now 13 years that we've been married, like he has been like just such a solid, loving, kind husband and friend and father for our kids in ways that I didn't even know that we would need. And I'm just really grateful for who he is. Like, because of the work that I do and the community that was my community, like he's made lots of sacrifices along the way to like really support me to do the ministry and the work that God has called me to do, and has done it like with really a grace and kindness that I thank God for, because I feel like if I would have married someone who maybe would have like not felt supportive of it, like
made you stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah, then I maybe could have done that, but there's so many things that God has done in the last 13 years that I believe like Titus's support and his presence in them has made it be able to grow and expand and become what it is now.
Okay.
And it's often behind the scenes. Like he's not, he's willing to do whatever is necessary, but he's happy to not be the face of it all.
Wow. So you become a wife.
I did become a wife.
Boit.
And he's a wonderful family. So again, like my life had been in this village. His family was not from far away, but very different experience. He grew up on a really large farm and really strong family, and so I got to experience Kenya kind of in a new way when I married him, because my experience was really sheltered in this rural community. So
Juli, your story is
his poor family had to be like, who is she again?
And
like,
she's from what?
And they said, a real Mzungu or just a brown girl? I'm like, nope, she's real. So anyways, I don't know.
Oh my God, this story is so... I can't... the uniqueness of your story. I mean, I'm a Kenyan, so I should get this. But I'm just like, she did what? Even the ones who live on a farm are just like, she's from where? Yeah.
Yeah, but we're very, very warm and welcoming to me, which they didn't have to be. Like, I know that can be an issue when people are getting married, but they were really, really kind to me. So I'm grateful for that. In 2013, in July, I got to have our daughter Ella in Kenya, in Eldoret. So we drove from the village while I was in labor and prayed we'd make it to the hospital. And we did, but like my labor was long and not progressing.
Yeah.
And so we ended up doing, we had to have an emergency C-section after like 24 hours.
Wow.
And so I got to experience like the healthcare system as being a patient, and also understanding that like I got to live and Ella got to live because we could afford treatment. And and felt the, like, not, I didn't feel, what's the word? I didn't feel like, I just felt like there was a gift that I got to live, but also felt the desire for that same access to be available to others.
And that's part, every time I've heard your story, even on and off camera, it's like you can't not help but look back at the less fortunate. So anytime you're doing something, have it be education, have it be labor, you're not just like, oh, thank you, God, thank you so much for getting me through this. You're like, okay, what about the others who can't get through this?
And I belong to a community that you couldn't have a C-section.
Wow.
So it's like, if that's where I belong, then like, I think my eyes should see that they don't have that same access, and that easily it would be a different story because of income or because of being able to get to the right hospital to be able to get the care that you needed.
Wow. Okay. So you get your daughter.
I did,
mama.
and she, Jerope, she was born in the rain on the same day as Kanji's birthday, so July 31st.
Yeah.
And I felt so grateful for her. And she is strong, and she is curious and bright, and she is like such a gift from God. And so grateful for her. And motherhood was harder than I imagined. Everything should be natural and you should feel so calm. It was hard, but I love her, and I loved her from the minute before she was born. I longed for her and so grateful for her life. And
did you feel the impact of community?
Yeah. So are you ready for all of this?
I'm ready.
So when she was born, we went to Titus's family's larger farm, and I was taken care of for a month.
Wow.
I was given lots of uji and lots of chai and milk, and I was told constantly I wasn't eating enough, but really tried.
Wow.
And just a place to rest. So my parents flew in, and they were with us for a couple of weeks. My brother was living with us, so he was there for a couple months with us. And then when we did go back to Chibaiwa, then the larger community was showing up to celebrate Jerope and to be with me.
What? I'm hearing you talk a lot about the sacrifices of integrating in community. But look at how they come in to help you when you need help. And it's not...
But because I don't even see, I don't see it so much as sacrifice to serve the community.
The intentionality that you have.
Yeah, I think there's costs and the rewards. We say that about love too, right? It's the cost and the reward. Being a parent, it's sacrifice for sure. Sleep and your body and everything is totally changed. Things that you always knew are no longer the same. And, that's the cost of it. But the reward is this child that you've been entrusted with and gifted with, and who you need to grow to become so that they can experience love and safety and all of that. But I feel like becoming a mother, it changed me in ways I didn't know, in my work. So I didn't know, because I take care of often dying children, I was afraid. For the first time, I was afraid in ways that I'd never felt before of I'm taking care of these kids, but God, please, please let her be healthy. Please protect her, because I'm so used to being with sick kids, and the cost for me is to love them in their sickness. But now I'm a mom, and it's just just the lens through which I looked through was different. And so I just experienced fear in a new way of like, I can't protect her in the way that like I need her to be protected, and like really like holding that before God, because of wanting her to have life and everything
also got
good.
to understand the mothers whose children it is that you've.
Yeah, and I would grow even later much more in that, but like that was my initial experience of like in the early days of motherhood, I was so tired and I was like, please just let her sleep, but also please like keep her safe. Like that was a big part of that season. And then like she grew and she is like has more energy than like if we could like harness it, we could like run like power for a lot of Kenya. It was like remarkable. Yeah, but she grew, like we continued with our work and had community to help support so that she could be cared for also. And then in 2016, so Ella was 2, you know, like, let me just say that I went into the hospice on a Friday and I was doing rounds and I came into the children's space and there was a pink blanket with a baby who weighed like a kilo. And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know any of the story, but like I picked him up and I was just like, I don't know. I just held him, and the story was that his mom had died in childbirth in the community. Like a neighboring community. I didn't know her. He was the youngest of 8 brothers and sisters.
So where are we starting from?
We're going to go into the garden so we can talk about the story of the hospital. Well, if God entrusted us with the garden, it seems we should take care of it, right?
Oh. Oops. Okay, Julie. Welcome us to this new space. Introduce us. Tell us. Where are we?
We are in Eldoret, so we're at Living Room Hospital. So this started because the hospice was full and we were seeing like an increasing need for the care that we were hoping to provide. And so our boards from Kenya and the States met, and on the same day we decided, let's start looking for land.
Wow.
A lady who I'd never met before named Kate called, and she said that she had furniture that from her mother-in-law who had just passed away that she was wanting to donate to the hospice. And so like 2 days later, David Tarus and I and another board member, we drove into this property, and it was just this moment of like, God, I know this is not ours, but like, could it be? Because what I imagined is where in Kipkaren, it's green, like we've gardens, like I imagined that this was going to be a concrete space, you know, a lot more like restricted land and urban and not have the ability to do something like this. And so when we drove in and saw this space, like I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't know that it could become ours. And so we were able to purchase it 2 weeks later.
What? And how big is this space? This space is pretty huge.
So it's 8 acres here.
8 acres. From where we've walked until here?
Yeah, from up to the whole piece.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of constructions. That's the sound of progress that you're hearing in the background. We've intentionally shot here so that you can also hear the expansion that's happening.
Yeah. So with time, obviously, like our goal is for it to be quiet and peaceful and serene in this space. But when we were able to get this land, then the goal was, how do we protect this garden? How do we create, with what we've been entrusted, a hospital to circle around the garden and to create walkways that could all be wheelchair accessible, and beds could come out on wheels, and families could gather out in gardens. Because if you don't have to be inside, then it just creates a really different healing environment.
So you've preserved the trees that have come, that you found. When did you start this space? What year was that?
We bought the land in 2015. 2016, our team sat with an architect from Eldoret for like a whole year, just really designing the different spaces. And then we worked on fundraising for the initial phase of the hospital in 2016, constructed 17 and 18, and opened in the beginning of 2019.
Wow. Okay. This is beautiful. I love in fact, as soon as we walked here, even the coolness of the day can be felt here. It was a bit hot on that side as we walked in here. Just complete change of environment.
And the birds that sing to us day and night are in the trees.
So, and there's a lot of buildings. So what was here before?
It was the garden. This canopy was actually the driveway right here.
Yeah.
It's how you drove into the property. There was a older house that was falling down. So
this was somebody's house.
This was someone's house and land. Yeah. So what we did is we just said, okay, how can we take care of this garden and create a space of healing and care? And so designed all around it.
Okay. You want to take us for a walk? I love this space.
Sure.
You're calling this, what's the name of this place?
It's Living Room Hospital.
That's Living Room Hospital. No Kimbilio up in here.
Well, no. I mean, I actually feel like all of it should be Kimbilio, but when we started the organization, we called it Living Room, and so just like having different names gets confusing.
Okay, I know, I get it. I understand.
But I think it's meant to be a refuge, and it looks like one to me. You know, I mean, I feel like it has been for a lot of patients and families.
This space is bigger than the other one. Wow, how many beds currently are here?
So we have a total of 144, but they're divided between general wards, private spaces, maternity, ICU. We have operating rooms, so pre-op, post-op, and then there's a guest house that I'll show you and explain those beds too. And
just before we go there, so this sounds like it offers more than just care in terms of end-of-life care.
So we built it to also be a hospice and palliative care center.
Okay.
And then when we went to register it with the Ministry of Health, they said for us to be accredited and for reimbursement purposes, which we didn't do reimbursement through the government for Kimbilio. Then they said for us to do that, then they wanted us to do additional services and to serve the larger community. And so it's become a community hospital.
Okay, that's so important to note. And let me just break down what you've said. So when you came here, you wanted an extension of what you did, just to do it more people in the central place in Eldoret. But the government is like, we can't reimburse you for that. So the Kenyan government was not reimbursing for the kind of service that you do.
Right.
So you had to increase your offerings.
So what we said is, I mean, because we then had to begin to like make decisions, what we decided is as long as it's still a community of compassion that honors life and offers hope, then we can discuss what other services we can provide. Okay. So as long as it could filter through our vision, then we were willing to consider.
So, and that's now got people onto NHIF or now what is known as SHA.
Yeah.
So without that change that you made or that addition that you made, because it was actually an addition.
Yeah, and I think that in doing that, like wanting people to still have accessible, affordable care is like a big deal for us. Like, you know, there's private rooms, so like we can charge differently, but we wanted our neighbors to still be able to access care, especially those with advanced illness who need a place to come. Yeah. So one of the things that actually initially was really hard for this space is that people would come in and think it's too good, it can't be for me.
Wow.
So like we had to break down like this stigma that like a place that looks like this, it actually,
let me tell you, it looks nice. Even when Aizo saw it, he was just like, hey, this is a hotel. That's the beauty with which it looks like.
But I mean, I think it's more of an intention, again, of hospitality, wanting people to like feel valued, to feel welcome, to feel seen, and for there to be a space for patients and families to come. And I mean, hard things happen here, you know, like people are really, really sick, and we care for their pain, we care for their symptoms, we do treatment. but we want them to feel seen and feel loved,
Yeah.
like as we do it.
And I know I keep repeating this, but I'm aware that this is new within Kenya, a place that actually takes care of the hospice. It's even the name because it's not a name that you constantly hear about. Palliative care, hospice.
Hospice.
That's a space. Explain to somebody in case this is the first time they're hearing it. That is a space that does what?
So palliative care is from the time of diagnosis throughout, whether they are going towards curative or till someone passes away. So palliative care is not about end of life care. It's about pain and symptom management, psychosocial support, but it often has been associated with
End of life. Yes.
So that's like something that we're trying to break down the stigma around. So palliative care is to accompany the entire process. So if you're getting chemotherapy,
from diagnosis.
Yeah, so from chemotherapy, radiation therapy, there should be a team approach that's looking at what kind of pain are you experiencing, what kind of psychosocial issues are coming up, what are the symptoms that we could help manage, and also build trust that whether someone gets better or whether someone passes away, that there is a team that's accompanying in that journey.
Julie, people don't know this.
Because it's not widely practiced. It's so much associated with there's nothing left to do,
Exactly.
Palliative care, which is actually not how the framework is supposed to be.
I'm in shock actually from hearing what it is that you've said. You're talking about from the moment diagnosis happens.
So whether you have stage 1 cancer or stage 4 cancer or a different, chronic illness, there should be, if it's really quality care, then it's actually, how can we look at what's your pain level? What's your anxiety level? What depression? Like, what are these different things that are going on alongside of the chemotherapy or radiation therapy that someone's receiving? So it's
even nutrition comes into that.
Absolutely. It's looking at like a goals of care of more than we're going to treat to cure this cancer, is how do we come alongside and support a patient and their family while they're on that journey.
But also in the hospice.
So hospice.
Okay.
Hospice.
Hospice.
Yeah.
Oh, not hospice.
Well, I may have a different accent, but hospice is traditionally, it's the last 6 months of life. So the expectation is that the prognosis is the person will not live longer than 6 months. Is how, like in the US or the West, is like there's different markers that you can look at, and your expectation is that your goal is not cure, but your goal is now comfort. Then that's where hospice comes in. So the hospice that we run is not purely hospice. Like, like we were taking care of patients where the goal was actually, with HIV, was for them to get better, go back to the community. Rehab, our goal wouldn't be for it to be end of life care. A lot of our cancer patients, by the time they're coming to us, it's very far advanced. But those are some of the things that we've used the word, but it's not like pure,
I get it.
what it typically would mean.
Okay, but at least I love what you've shared, because now to the viewers watching, you've painted context to almost to and here's the thing, from my experience from the last place, and I want to see if here's the same, it's the intentional level of care and love that is injected into this health treatment. So it's not just health treatment, amazing health treatment that you're offering. The bedrock of this is care through love.
So I think it's compassion, which is just a deeper level of love. So it's a willingness to make room for the suffering, a willingness to make room for the hard things in this space and to accompany people through it. So, I feel like it's a level of love that's to suffer with.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. Show us.